Mary Magdalene is a woman whose name connotes many things to many people. Some might associate her name with the woman caught in adultery. Others might consider her the apostle to the apostles, or see her in the role of preacher and teacher. Though her identity has been altered and added onto to fill various roles, the poignancy of her legends persists today, especially in the south of France. Legend has it that the warm and fertile region of Provence, in the south of France, was widely converted in the 1st century AD by a small group of travelers known as the Friends of Bethany, or Lazarus, Martha, and Mary Magdalene. Whether or not this was the case, in the intervening centuries, a plethora of legends have sprung up surrounding the Magdalene and her life and miracles that is quite site-specific. Many of the stories of Mary Magdalene come to us from the Golden Legend, a book of saints' lives written in the 13th century by Jacopo de Vorgane. Vorgane describes the arrival of the group as a miraculous voyage from Jerusalem in a boat without sails or oars, and carried by an unnatural storm. The most prevalent tale is the legend of the Vita Eremitica, or the period of Mary's life spent in hermitage on La Sainte-Baume. Though originally the purpose of this solitude was contemplation, the evolution of the Magdalene legend later had her isolate herself for penitence. As the story goes, here Mary was lifted up to heaven daily to commune with the angels. She ate and drank nothing during the decades of isolation, but was divinely sustained. She wore no clothes, but let her hair, her most iconic feature and the symbol of her sins, grow to cover her body. Before Mary Magdalene had settled into her hermitage in La Sainte-Baume, medieval legend has her traveling to Marseille, the site of her preaching and famous encounter with the Prince of Marseille. The story goes that the prince and his wife were unable to conceive and sacrificed to pagan gods to increase their chances. Mary Magdalene saw the ceremony and forbade them to continue, asking why they chose to persecute the local Christians. She subsequently appeared to them in visions until the couple was persuaded to have her pray to her God for help. They had a child and were converted to Christianity through the miracle Mary Magdalene's faith had effected. The legend goes on to describe how the prince and princess go on a pilgrimage with their child, and the princess dies in a storm at sea. Reluctant to abandon his pilgrimage, the prince lays his wife's body on a rock, places the child under her cloak, and travels on. 2 years later, he returns to the spot to find his child playing along the shore, still able to nurse from the body of his mother, which is miraculously still producing milk. The prince is overcome with joy and thanks Mary Magdalene for his child's survival. At that, the princess is restored to life, and the family journeys home together. Once back in Marseille, the couple are baptized and the Christianization of Gaul begins in earnest. The Abbey of Vézelay, already quite wealthy as a pilgrimage site, began claiming relics of Mary Magdalene. In 1058, these relics were verified by Pope Stephen IX, solidifying the basilica as a pilgrimage site through the modern day. You can travel there or to St. Maximin, a competing site which houses the skull of the saint, by following the Magdalene Trail. This route, which begins in Spain, consists of multiple sites devoted to the Magdalene and the principles she represents. As you can see, there are as many routes as there are traditions which revere the Magdalene. Local Provencal imagery of Mary most often includes her in roles as preacher, teacher, and miracle worker, rather than sinner, though penitent Magdalenes are not entirely absent. It is interesting to see how the legends of Mary Magdalene have taken root in this particular area, and helped to shape how we see the saint herself. Her healing miracles will be long remembered, and her bones long revered.